Hey, welcome everybody to the podcast Now Everything Makes Sense. My name is Tania, and together with Belen, Alexia, and Esmeralda, we will relive one of the great eras of BTS musical career, the Love Yourself era. Let's begin. Hi girls, how are you?
Hi, beautiful. I'm fine, thank you.
While we were preparing the show, I saw you all very happy. So, tell me, Belen, do you feel excited to talk about this album?
Yes, I'm excited. This album has a very deep meaning for me, and surely after this podcast, the audience will feel the same way. So let's start.
They Love Yourself series consists of 3 albums and a short films. Love Yourself Wonder. The album covers are dancing in a way that contains them to each other.
Do you have all 3 albums?
No, I don't. Just one.
The Love Yourself series consists of an introduction, development tests, and conclusions. Number 1. Love Yourself. Wonder echo meaning and opening or beginning. Number 2. Love Yourself here echo construction. Number 3. Love Yourself there echo twist. Number 4. Love Yourself answer echo result and conclusions.
Okay, let's start with the album Love Yourself Here. Here is an expression of the anxiety and euphoria of love, told in the unique style of BTS. It is intended to convey in the Love Yourself series, but the individual experience of a child growing into adulthood, and a message of peace and unity for our society. The era of Love Yourself, in addition to social criticism, begins in a process of self-discovery and
A
introspection.
discovery of any baby chance of teens.
The album debuted at number 7 on Billboard 200,
But are the
and wait,
solution to a
listen
problem
this,
you have.
was the best-selling album of 2017 in South Korea. This is amazing! This album features a total 9 songs in its digital form and 11 in physical form.
Serendipity is a song performed by Jimmy. It is now a serendipity, a discovery of any baby chance of teens that you are not looking for investigate, but are the solution to a problem you have.
The song expresses the means of joy, love, fall of passion. The term DNA is used in the song as reference, though they believe that they soul will be together a transcode both space and time.
When you say that you love me, 난 늘 위로겼네.
This BTS song says to army in its lyrics and says, "You got the best of from place I chose. Don't leave me. I don't believe myself that I'm like this. So take me hand right now."
Dimple is a warm song. Namjoon wrote the song as if he was talking to himself, since he has dimples, so while writing the lyrics, he was thinking about what he would like to hear about his dimples.
Okay, dimples are actually a defect created by the muscles on the face when they are shorter than normal, but they give you a beautiful appearance. The pairs. These dimples are criminal. Your existence is a criminal. Is a complete with dimples indicate that they are so beautiful their existence should be forbidden.
The purse, every time I'm saying them, my heart becomes dangerous. Every time I'm saying them becomes more dangerous. When all falls in love, it can be dangerous from a sentimental point of view because the sentence and slangs that come while being in love can become a conflict. Under kids, love can be dangerous because you become vulnerable and manipulated by the person you love. On the other hand, in love is reciprocal. It feels like drink wave after having been very stressed.
This is how love gives meaning to life. Because when you are in love, there are a chemical reaction in the brain that produce happiness and make you feel more alive than ever.
Pied Piper is based on German legend or fable called the Pied Piper of Hamelin, which metaphorically relates the misfortune that happened in town on Hamelin, Germany on 26 June 1284. Clearly, the BTS boys are the flute player, an army who we hear this flute. This flute will be their music. They want us not to be too distracted by their music and videos. They want us to pay more attention to our studies and our future. They are bad. They are dangerous from the point of view that they make you distracted, but they are super sweet with their lyrics and their support through their songs.
It's hard but it's true. Pied Piper critique an obsessive fan culture that permeates much of the K-pop industry. Mic Drop is a song composed by Namjoon and Hoseok that was inspired by the desire to share up haters with irrefutable arguments, and by the end of a speech by former President Obama when he dropped his microphone. Dropping the microphone in rap means that you have just had a great intervention in a battle of improvisation, which is why the essence of the song to demonstrate to group great artists' abilities on stage. In the lyrics, they refer to real situation in South Korea society. For example,
At first glance, Go Go may seem like a fun and simple song, but in reality it is an assertive critique of capitalism and the consumerism that globalization has created. The song's catchy chart doesn't seem to hide any transcendental message, but evokes the compulsive need to buy that is felt at Christmas time, for example.
Consumerism is nowadays a normal sight that becomes a measure of your social status. The more money you have to buy and the more things you buy, the better you are positioned on the social ladder. There is a whole social pressure to show off how much you can afford or how powerful you are because it generates social recognition. However, many of those who try to appear to have great purchasing power are actually married in debt, but in order not to lose social recognition, they prefer to sacrifice anything, be it material or physical. This whole set of issues is what the song is about.
the song says, I work so hard and earning my paycheck, and in my bell I collect every drop and have fun losing every drop. I spend all. The education system in Korea is designed to make you a highly competitive person. and to make you feel the need to beat someone else by superstar every way. From a young age, children study very hard.
Nobody wants to be concerned for someone spend all their money and live beyond their means. To parents, they have higher economic status. The song goes, good, there's no terms, terms are yet more things. On my future wall, I spend more of my money feels. What's how you want some interpersonal relations are so smart consumers. The more you can spend, more people will want to get closer to you and want to be your friends. Both falseness and hypocrisy of these relations and has become normalized.
But it's up to oneself to find a balance between healthy vanity and extreme consumerism.
What more can I say? 같은 곳을 향해 걸었었는데 이것이 우리의 마지막
Oh, through tear is probably how a rap song make you cry. It was written by Yoon, Namjoon, and Hobby for the members at a time when they were seriously thinking about whether they should slip up or not. The first time the boys hear the song, they all cried. This was told by Yoon himself in the latest documentary series.
But to understand the story behind Tear, we have to understand the moment the boys found themselves in 2018. Their fame as a group grew tremendously after the release of Idol, and MV at the time broke the record for most views in the first 24 hours. As their fame grew, so I did the pressure to deliver more and better music and performances, because they found themselves getting a lot of job offers and hardly had any time for themselves.
On the other hand, it was year I watched their result, a lot of hate, a lot of people say terrible things and malicious crimes and reports to try to the makes tear�. Our army has killed of those built at its once you own like that year that second spoke about it at Harvard ceremony where the boys called her both cray.
That's why other tear talks about the frustration and contradiction when can hate with oneself, because as people we have to balance what we like and what it goes to do what we like to know if it really work it to keep feeding for that goal. And it must have been really hard to for them as a band to go through all that pressure and not be able to come clean to their fans and explain what was going on, because they really value the relationship they had with Army, and they didn't want to worry them when they had not made a decision yet.
The phrase, we were going to the same place, but that place became the last place. We talked about it forever, but we mentally destroyed it. each other mercilessly. Mentally, they were mentally exhausted and physically too. For example, on the time, Jonggi was already receiving injections to alleviate the discomfort on his shoulder injury and lived with the pain until late 2020, when he finally had surgery. So another question they probably asked themselves was how much longer they will be able to continue performing together.
My hair is tearing apart. Just setting on the fire. The pain and feeling one state. This very lifeline state pairs break to how it is necessary to ignore those negative feels that hold you back and prevent you from moving forward. Because the emotional pain of love cannot be felt with some addictive substance. It must be overcome with after and strong will to continue working and doing what you love to do.
Esmeralda, what do you think about this song?
You're my beginning and my end. That's all. My meeting and my parting. You are my everything. You will go on and fear. It will go on repeating to you. This phrase is undoubtedly addressed to Army to let you know that we are the reason they have moved. At the end of the day, they are human beings with flaws, and bears will do their best to be happy and make their fans happy. With a new album, a new song, or a concert, BTS will keep trying to be the best version of themselves.
Well, this heart is the last track of Love Yourself, at which makes a perfect break to the album Love Yourself there. Love Yourself there, Love Yourself there is their studio album BTS. It was a released on May 18, 2018, with Fight Club as the album title star.
Namjoon had this to say at the press conference of the release: Love Yourself Tear is the third part of the Love Yourself series, where Love Yourself Wonder and Love Yourself Here talk about the emotion of love. Love Yourself Here talks about breaking up.
무언가 가시는 소리 난 문득 잠에서
Singularity solo by B. Namjoon wrote the lyric 30 days after a new job. It is a song that gives you more and more when you listen to it. You feel more unworthy. It invites us to reflect on how the lonely we human beings can often be despite having company. The skin of lonely line exists regardless of whether one is famous or not. About the colleague into which I was wrong, I get eyes was for. In the dream I enter, my Anpanman remembers the same. The metaphor of Anpanman is very poetic, but at the same time very real, because it symbolizes the pain you feel for something that is no longer there. If the thing that caused you pain no longer exists, it should stop hurting, but in practice it doesn't happen because human feelings are very complicated. Anpanman pain is filled with the cause of the pain, goes beyond the physical and remains a grave into self-consent, causing demand for a long time.
In the early spring will come, one day the ice will melt and fall. How why these sparks take young sparks to host the hope for a better future, a future where the problems of the present are solved and the goals we have set for ourselves can achieve. It is of some permission of Spirit Day, which makes use a think possibility and makes use think of others. We stop begin souls. We win out the needs of others before ours one only times, and we love others and love ourselves. That is when in silence our vows and stop some are real, because all the time we listen to the voice of others and forget about ourselves. When this happens, we then think that our problems are not important and we abandon ours in order to make others happy.
날 위해서라면 슬퍼도 깊은 척할 수가 있었어. 널 위해서라면 난 아파도 강한 척할 수가 있었어.
Fake love, above the song Namjoon said. It holds a story of breakup or goodbye. The fake love that once created in the end turns into a breakup, supporting the message that the real key to love is to love yourself. The real key to love is to love yourself. Essentially, it's a song that represents the whole host of emotions regarding fame and their passion for music that the boys have felt. The subject matter and talent with which they perform this song makes it seem like an easy song to sing, but many connoisseurs claim that it's super difficult to perform live while executing such herky moves.
Talks about the false love that you can feel when you lose your passion because of job and it stops making you happy. Because even if you love what you do, as time goes by it becomes routine and you have to look for new ways to love and be passionate about things. For you, I won't be able to pretend that I'm happy even when I'm sad. For you, I will be able to pretend that I am strong even when I am hurt. This phrase, with which the song begins and ends, goes straight to the heart of the fans, as it lets us know what struggle their character boys have gone through very difficult moments in which they had to avoid showing all their feelings, so as not to hurt us.
The phrase, "I made a flower wild that cannot bloom, in a dreams that cannot come true." Despite big dreams that are destroyed with reality disused, many times circumstances do not go according to our dreams and we have to let go of some hope. The fact love is reflected in these negative emotions that make you think human being, that we are nothing hard enough. I love you. I love you so much. I built a beautiful life for you. I love you. You so made it that I try to erase myself and make myself you painting. When you really do love, you try to make that person happy, but be showing the best side of yourself, waiting to give 100 to self, and we are not hitting our shoulder. or your negative side, which is also part of yourself. It is not for nothing that Jung said that the key to happiness was to accept a fading of your personality.
I wish love were as perfect as love itself is. All my weekends calls be hidden. These years not snow or weekends and her smooth brilliant part is entered in house human begins. That is why it's so necessary to love oneself. You don't love yourself and forgive yourself for being a woman and begin was makes mistakes. You can never be happy. Loving yourself also means putting her love first, hers affairs, because you love others without love yourself first. Your love is actually fails because I love because when the duties make someone else happy. If you yourself are not happy, it's not really love.
외로움이 가득해 비어있는 이 garden 가시투성이 이 모래성에 난 날 외웠어.
The untold. The song is inspired by a touching story, the legend of the emerald flower. This story tells the story of a man who was ugly because we had suffered from a disease that caused him a deformity. Through his life, this man suffered contempt from the people who lived in his village. So he made the decision to move away from everyone and began to devote himself to gardening. One day a woman broke into his house and stole a flower from his garden. At first he was very angry, but then he started to watch his woman every time she went to his garden to pick flower and discovered that she was actually seeking the flowers in order to earn some money to make a living. So the man decided to help her by creating a unique flower that could be sold for a lot of money, so she would not need to work anymore. After many attempts, he managed to create a unique flower, which he called the flower emerald, and he waited for a long time for the girl to give him the flower, but she never came back to his garden. He then decided to look for her and put in mess because he was afraid of being rejected by her because of his ugliness. But he discovered that the girl had actually died a long time ago from a serious illness.
The mask in the song, while referring to the content of the story, also represents a beautiful metaphor for how we humans hide our emotion and feelings using a social mask, which psychologist Carl Jung called the person archetype. According to Jung, the person archetype filters our thoughts and adorns them so that when they are verbalized, they are socially accepted. The person archetype is responsible, for example, for people denying that they suffer from any illness, whether physical or mental, and pretending not to have prejudices such as sexism and racism, when in reality these ways of thinking are an active part of their personalities.
The sentence, I only know how to look myself, I am an ugly person and a fire. The verse also refers to story about the book just fear inherent in self-love. A lot we live in a game where are more connected than ever. The number of people with depression and anxiety caused by lonely or the idea of reaching certain of their understanding standard of beauty are grown. In your eyes, the life of the other appears to be perfect because we think to compare the best quality of their with our weekend and insecurities without taking into account that what we see on the screen is only teeny part of that person's life, who also fear and change until overcome. If you had forget my fear that time, as stomach for you, will things be different now?
Finally, the protagonist wonders whether a could have changed. The young woman is frightened and desperate of dreaming the things and the girl of control. In real life, when we have to make big decisions, the same thing happens when tend to wonder what the consequence of those decisions will be and whether we behave of the live which those consequences the fear or fairly of for harm the people you love is always a person. We begin to monitoring and feel person being something, and the people aren't so way. Tour untold tales on side love your history. It has ambitious house research on her personal things.
Marathon, marathon.
Paradise. Paradise is songwriting by the right lineup of BTS, concentrated on talking about the Chaeyoungs of youth. It's very shocking that a young Korean speaks about how extremely unfair and demanding the education system is in Korea, and how difficult it is for young people in Korea, because the comparative spirit has long been part of Korean culture and education system is distinct, so that one as an individual has the need to be better than others in order to aspire to a better future. Why think this culture context Paradise's message that you do not need to have a big dream to be a great person, and that you don't need to be better than others to be happy, is very comforting to the listener.
The real world is different than promised. We have to run, we have to put our foot on the accelerator. This phrase speaks of how as you enter adolescence and adulthood, you realize that it is not enough to strive to achieve your goals, but the real sacrifices are required to get good results. Because when you are a child, being an adult may seem like paradise, but when you are an adult, you realize that the real paradise was being a child and not having so many responsibilities and so much stress.
Depression on young people to choose a characteristics. On the one hand, there are the wishes of their parents, and other indecision and the fear of being unhappy. The reality is that too many people in Europe studying careers this don't enjoy and working of necessary routine bad because they love that they do What's with part of the message of the song is that it's good to pause and think about what's best for you and to think a balance between what you want and what others expect of you.
The pairs we take on the dreams of the other are the both wow size dreams out something great just becomes some with desires to life. This goal takes about our society is often caused by high pains when in reality you come sensible and the same time I'm very happy. I think looks and money does not sure having in the same way begins to fall in your hopes does not save you from again difficult moments stress on the entire stick at work because dreams don't have to be crazy to be good dreams. It's it's fun to be happy and to aspire to great times, but it takes a lot of powers to address the changes and to not give up after a down on the way the goal.
They are also responsible for comforting those who do not yet have a dream. If you have not see the goal and have not decided which path you will choose, don't worry too much. Mediate me and you will find the best solution.
Love Maze was written by the rap lineup of BTS and is a song that talks about how two people who love each other must go through a series of obstacles to be together. This song can also be interpreted as when we often struggle to deal with the negative expression to the others and give up what makes us happy just because it's easier. In the dark, we are now in the midst of all of these lights. If we are together, even at endless labyrinths in paradise. When something makes us happy and becomes our life goal, we have to take control of our decision and take on any change. Along the way, many people will tell you that it's not possible. The same happened to BTS, but the satisfaction of having done everything possible is what will let you sleep peacefully.
The mazes in real life are often the only one to reach our goal. The constant internal debate we have are due at the center of collective unconsciousness about what the word, success, and happiness mean.
Anpanman is the main cause of Anpan's anime. Had the press conference and Jimin's side Anpan is West hers in the world. He has no supernatural powers, but he is her wow does best to deliver. For the Harry, Namjoon, and Joey and lyrics thank the cans, Anpan and talk about how now they have superpowers they achieve and think thanks to her humble song and perseverance.
The phrase When I open my eyes, I'm still a hero, but I'm still in a maze. That young man is still covered in bruise. In this phrase, metaphor is used to express how complicated it is to pursue a dream for today's youth. The social pressure on young people is immense, and many are forced to choose professions without a real sense of vocations.
The phrase, even if I am wounded, I am a hero who leaves fear behind, putting fears aside and striving to achieve goals, is what makes a real life hero. Because if you keep yourself impersonated by the opinion of the others and the negative that some people give off, it is not possible to progress in life. This is something that applies to everything. If you have a goal in mind, you can let yourself be carried away by fear because it will be impossible for you to move forward.
But if you stay positive and finds adverse in white currents, it will be much harder to solve your personal change of finally the sometimes I'm honestly afraid of failing and disappointing you, but even it takes all my strength, you can be how sure that is what stand by your side. In these pairs and remnants use that the two have snow. They have first the chance that they what do overcomes of the cause and the air they neither friends nor money nor having a worthy wife. A recount offers you from the anxiety and unclarity in general of again your whole wide responsibilities and the powers of making social expectations.
날 신경 쓰지 않을래 나도 그런 맘대 So what?
So what is a songwriting by the right line that talks about how important it is to live in the present and leave aside the situation and problems that are beyond your control.
And while there are millions of people who love BTS, there are many others who hate them just for being themselves. Whether it's because of racism, xenophobia, or prejudice that fit their selfish or backward personalities. That's why So What is an invitation to say, hey, you know what? You don't like me, but I don't care.
The sentence, some people call me the right one, others call me the wrong one. I still don't care. Why don't you do it too? So what? Let it go. It's the sentence they speak directly to John, a young that had been marked by economic and political problems that often cannot every choice what professional to study or that does not get a job according to their intellectual capacity. Many people throughout your life will teach you that you did the right, and many others will reproach you for not having made certain choice, because it is impossible to meet anticipation that others have of you, and it takes a lot of willpower to find a balance.
We young people are often victims of our social context and it's impossible for us dream of great things about if we live constantly worried about what is out of for a control we come and exist on their spurs. The first nine of the outworks harbor your imagination go before you worry. Don't panic, just your heart together. So what? This pairs of reference on the consequence or an history and its highlights. Entering terms at the misconceptions of reality that our conscience maintains at the heart of her first, which we have been felt our conscious for decades. Housing the responsibility we have and don't have for mistakes. It's what really allows you moving for an evolving human begins.
어둠 속 나 심장이 뛰는 소리 났을 때 마주본다.
Answer. Love Myself. Answer Love Myself is the song that best represents the essence of this album and was written by the rap lineup of BTS. It's a song that talks about how important it is to love yourself before loving others, because if you don't love yourself, you are not able to truly and completely love anymore. Loving yourself is a process that can take a lifetime, and the goal of that whole year was for people to understand the importance of self-love.
Namjoon once said, "I have come to love myself for who I am, who I was, and who I hope to become." This phrase to my mind captures the essence of the concept of self-love. For to truly love yourself, you have to accept all parts of your personality and understand that in order to move forward while preserving humility, it is necessary to always remember where you come from and who you were in the past. Honestly, we must admit that the standards we set are harsher for ourselves.
The stories of what is beautiful or more socially accepted make yours feel indicate in the face increasingly siloed society we will live that to be happy we have to meet number of reference that are often unique types and the makes you feel frustrated. Comparing ourselves with others is another toxic habit we allow and always lose our hearts because the lives others will always seem so much more perfect and happier than our one.
The chorus of the song is extremely emotional and touching because they express as they have found in the army the motivation that love themselves.
The phrase, "there may not be an answer in a sense. This may not be the answer either, but to love myself. I don't need someone else's approval." This phrase is key because we don't need someone else to recognize how valuable we are in order to be valuable people. Many times we crave the approval of some social group and for them try to change our personality, but that is a big mistake. Basing your self-esteem on external praise or criticism only creates a great feeling of inadequacy, leading people to suffer from anxiety disorders or depression.
First, we do you keep how the heart under amongst events the cards that were forming big happy of mixture are part of the content of my life. The socialite at Max June is talk about a reality on sentence, a very common and social messaging in the comes your self-esteem of the public express and your not effective big external options about your body imagination and in the privacy your white yourself and feel euphoria because of an external opinion. Hating users such anorexia and bulimia stem from the social mask. You're increasing and yourself for begging others expect of friends making your resolution are white fox toxic and sometimes human and unnecessary acting becomes torture.
Finally, leaving the main message of the song, loving yourself implies that you feed your mind daily with positive ideas about your body image and what you are inside. It is difficult and takes time, but forgiving yourself is part of the process. You fail and you get back up. That is what living is all about. You fail and you get back up. That is what living is all about.
Is this love? Yeah. Is this love? Yeah. Sometimes I know. Yeah. Sometimes I don't.
Trivial Love is a song that was composed and written by Namjoon to express what the word love means to him. This song belongs to the Love Yourself era and therefore has a lot to do with the importance of self-love that kids were trying to convey at the time.
In reflections, Namjoon decides what he wishes we could love himself, while in Trivial Love, he reflects on what his process towards self-acceptance has been like. Another food factor is what Trivial Love was the first time augmented reality technology was used in a BTS concert.
The song goes, This is love. This is love is some common terms I don't cannot love is different. I mean everyone of a cause, everyone experience different ways of loving and therefore there is no single definition of love. Finding your love for many people means losing your appetite, while for others it's manipulating. I see a radical differences at the stigma imposed Joe are because of society. So what is love? Well, love is whether attack war means to you. Sometimes we think we are in love and then we feed on the word were only found of that person. That's when the lions bet. Then love of friends and the love of parents back vulnerable a correcting conversation and the personal difference.
Namjoon tells us that he's alive, so he's loved, because he's also aware of the importance of love in the life of a human being.
사랑하고 싶어. In this world 빛나는 나를 소중한 내 영혼을.
Epiphany is a song performed by Seokjin that talks about the epiphany people have when they realize that the most important thing and the first thing people must do before loving others is to love themselves. The word epiphany is described as a illumination, and even that suppresses the limit of the natural and causes you to wake up, discover or realize something new within yourself that was probably always there, but you hadn't noticed it.
The great lesson Epiphany of there is that love on itself has to be a priority for people, because love comes from us, and only if we love ourselves can we give pure and true love to others. And many people confuse self-love with vanity, but vanity prevents you from seeing your imperfections, and self-love is based on accepting and loving your imperfections. Making tape is basis of your evolution and perfect to risk what just came in the evolution. It teaches you to love yourself for who we are with all our faults, even if you take you sometimes, maybe not perfection, but it's beautiful way.
Why that I to hide some precious self like this we was surprised we did in the my true self. In these sentences a question and took him so long to realizing that it was on something is true personality.
Euphoria. Euphoria is a song named composed and masterful performed by untold. The first thing you should know about this song is that it's super difficult to sing. Even more so if the performer is flying through the air during the performance. But hey, this is untold. We are talking about euphoria is a human emotion produced by an external feelings of happiness. An euphoric person can express it by jumping, shouting, hugging people, or doing anything that allows them to release that feeling of happiness.
Idol is a song in whose composition Namjoon participated and which at the time broke all the records that BTS had achieved, including that of the MV with the most plays in the first 24 hours. The historical, cultural, and personal background behind this song is very broad, but in a sense, it is a song that vindicates the figure of the idol, who until then were known by the general public as prefabricated and artificial products forced to follow the demands on their company and commercial industry. That is why it is epic that they use so many colors and symbols that in themselves represent the fictional and unreal, because it is a statement that they are proud to be idols and that their identity is Korean.
You can be artist, you can be idol, or whatever you can think of, don't care and produce of it on free. This first is interesting because for many people K-pop is not genre of music and idol are not artists. This is because it's common for idols to have their song composed and training to express the concept that the agency created for them a group. That is why BTS broke new group since their debut by having the create freedom to create their own songs and express them as artists and creators. So in this sense, they comment that they don't care about the level they want to impose on them because they are proud of who they are and what they have achieved.
most people come to hate. BTS don't have Big Brothers to help the translation of the songs, which makes them humbling appearance, and the folks makes the hard things on the company. Because of it is brings lengths for many idols and my faults. I'm super proud and eccentrics of people are looking for attention. We in the reality it is a declaration of self-love and an invitation to love ourselves, which is essence of the album LIZETH's answer.
With this album ends the era of Love Yourself. What do you think about this era?
Excellent. Every story behind the songs of the guys are formidable, which allows you guys to know them, love them, admire them, and respect them even more.
And above all, is a teaching us that self-love, to follow our dreams, and to want to be better people.